Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and we are joined once again by Rana Vig, founder of Blue Lagoon Resources, what many see as one of the most undervalued, exciting companies in the gold space going forward. Thank you for joining us again.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, with the continued daily insanity of the world we live in, the Federal Reserve, among central banks all over the world, are printing trillions of dollars. Historically, gold has been a huge hedge against inflation and recessions. So, gold hasn't seen any notable crazy moves over the last 10 years for the most part. So, I wanted to ask what makes gold so undervalued, or as some put it, a ticking money time bomb going forward?
Well, I think it's a combination of things that you just mentioned, right? I mean, first and foremost is all this money that's being printed. Anyone who doesn't, understand that doesn't really understand this space. I know people keep getting worried that how come gold isn't going higher? It should have been higher by now. And, we get so caught up in this mainstream media noise, and you forget, the fundamentals, which is, trillions of dollars are being printed, and trillions more are going to be printed, right? I mean, Biden is just about to introduce, infrastructure spending, which is going to be, I understand, another $2 trillion. Right? Where is that going to come from, right? So, yeah, and that's not, and this is not just a problem in the United States or Canada. This is a worldwide problem. Governments are broke all over the world. So, how are they going to fund all these projects? How are they going to put people back to work? And on top of this, all this, COVID, although it seems to be somewhat in control, yet you keep hearing that it's not going to go away anytime soon. So, we're in this for a long haul, and gold and silver have no choice but to appreciate in value because of those factors.
Yeah, a judge on the Supreme Court just said a few days ago that she could see lockdowns lasting intermittently for 10 years. So, I mean, that's insanity to most logical thinking people. But nonetheless, going forward, we're seeing so much currency get printed. And with that, like you said, where does that come from? Obviously, this is going to hit people in the wallets when it comes to inflation. So that's why, I see so many people go, gold might, like, just the average person, not just the people, the gold bugs. Nowadays, it's like the average person, maybe gold is where I need to keep my money right now. And I wanted to ask, how lucrative is gold in a centrally planned world, steadily going more and more cashless all the time? Obviously, we're going into a digital future. There's no way to get around that. So how does gold stand up against this obvious fact that we are going so digital?
Well, I think that's the magic question. I think it's yet to be seen what exactly happens. But you know what? I'd rather put my faith in something that's been around for thousands of years, has been proven, has been considered, money, all that time, versus something that just came, very, very recently. That doesn't mean we dismiss it. I just mean that this means that we have to be cautious. But I would say that people should consider, if they like crypto, they should consider putting a small amount of money in there. But I certainly would put a big chunk of it. I just don't understand it well enough. I would rather play it safe and be where what just makes more sense to me. I mean, is the government suddenly going to make crypto or Bitcoin, the reserve currency? Or I mean, I just don't see that, right? I think the precious metals is the place to be at.
Right. So gold is scarce, which teamed with demand make it extremely valuable. So with that said, how much more gold do you think is just sitting there waiting to be mined? I know there's a lot of work being done right now to tap into a lot of gold veins in places like Canada and Mexico, all over the world. I wanted to hear your thoughts on how much more is still underground and yet to be discovered.
Well, it's getting harder and harder, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's scarce, right? I mean, all the low-hanging fruit pretty much has been taken, and now we're getting into lower and lower grades, or we're finding permitting issues, right? Environmental in challenges in areas. So it is getting tougher and tougher, which obviously is increasing, costs as well. And that's why, when there is a high-grade a vein system like the one we have, for example, it becomes very valuable. And any companies that actually have a permit already, which we also have, right, which it saves, it takes in British Columbia, for example, it takes 20 years to get a mining permit. So I mean, it's a long time. So all those things are, of course, add to the scarcity and add also a reason why the price of gold will continue to appreciate. Also, Josh, it's worth noting that again, people get all hung up about gold's only sitting at 1,700 or why isn't it going higher? What people forget is just a couple of years ago, or just even since it was sitting at around 1350, it's appreciated 30%. You're right. So if you look at the chart overall, if you go back to the 70s, yes, you're going to have the sort of the ups and downs, but it is a steady increase, right? And that's what you really have to look at, because investing is not, we're not day traders, right? It's investing. And investing means there has to be, somewhat of a medium to long-term horizon, at least a couple of years, right? And that's very important for people to understand that that long-term chart of gold and silver is rising and will, in my opinion, continue to rise.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people miss a point, which is that if you have dollars, you're investing in the dollar. If you have gold, you're investing in gold. Would you rather have a bunch of fiat money underneath your mattress, or would you rather have gold under your mattress? And I think most people would rather have gold, because when you sell that gold into fiat, then you're basically, in a sense, investing in the dollar, which is constantly in a tailspin, whereas gold is holding its value.
Well, and that's another very good point, right? I mean, I like to always demonstrate by going back to the 70s. If you look at if you took an ounce of gold back in the 70s, right, it was about $35, right? If you took that, 1 ounce and you put it in a bag, some sort of a container, and you buried it, and next to it you took $35, actual physical dollars, and you buried it, and today, fast forward to 2021, and we, dug it out. What's the value of that gold that you paid for $35 back there? Well, today it's about $1,700. But what's the value of those $35 dollar bills, right? What, a couple of burgers, a coffee, maybe, right? So the point is, and that's another reason why what people don't seem to understand is that it's not even so much that the gold is going up; it's that the dollar is going down, right? It's getting devalued, and that's a situation in all over the world. With doesn't matter what currency you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a race to the bottom for all fiat currencies. And as history has shown, gold has been a hedge against inflation, a really good hedge against inflation. And in fact, it's been a hedge against massive monetary crises like recessions and depressions. And obviously, I think a lot more people are becoming aware of that. I've seen the average person talking about gold, whereas it's been a long time since the average person talked about gold. And I really see that starting to build up again. Despite all the manipulation we've seen over the years from banks, obviously, eventually you push a beach ball underwater long enough and then it gains pressure and it blows up. But I wanted to ask about Blue Lagoon Resources. Can you refresh our viewers on the company and what you guys do?
Yeah, we have a very unique opportunity, a very unique project. As I mentioned earlier, it's a high-grade gold vein system. It's fully permitted. That's one of the keys. And honestly, the only reason we were able to acquire it is because the predecessors literally ran out of time. They're 83 years old and not in the best of health. They got it to the literally the 99-yard line, and they ran out of time. They spent $28 million in the last dozen years, all on development, infrastructure, permitting, and along I came. So all that we had to do was spend $2 million more and finish 3 amendments, which we've done now. 2 of them are complete. The last one will be completed by the end of next month, or by the end of April, and we'll be in a position to submit everything to the government, and we expect to get the green light by late summer, early fall to actually be in production. So we're one of the few companies that actually will be able to create free cash flow very, very soon, in my opinion, and what we believe. And then, but that's the smallest part of the story, right? We have this huge 19,000 hectares land package, which is very prospective. We did the first ever airborne survey on this property a few months ago, and it was amazing. The whole thing just lit up, right? And all our geos, our technical team was like, well, scratching their head saying, wow, how come no one's ever looked at this before? And it's because the private company was always focused on trying to get the mine into production over the last dozen years in a very bad gold market. Remember, gold was sitting around 1250 for a long time. So it was very difficult and people weren't that excited about it. So long, we just started 2 months ago, the biggest drilling program ever on this property, 20,000 meters. So that's what increases the value of a property or project like ours, right, is that we have the permits required. We believe we're very, very close to production. Take that free cash flow, put it back into the ground, and expand, what we believe that we have with this project.
So last time you came on our show, you had a lot of cool developments as you do now, and it appears you've still got a lot ahead of you. Firstly, can you go into your Dome Mountain project and why investors should be so excited about that? You kind of tapped into it a bit there, but this is a significant size project that obviously a lot of investors are taking notice of.
Well, yeah, and that's the one I'm talking about. That is the one. And so yeah, the why they should take a look at it is because of the some of the things that I just outlined.
Right.
And look, you have to take a look at management, right? Look, I'm not a big shot. I'm just a hard worker. I learned a long time ago that I'm not that smart. So I just surround myself with the best and the brightest, and that's what I've done here. But I believe in this. Myself, I'm coming off of a couple of very big wins. My last couple of deals are one was it was a nearly it was a $520 million raise and nearly a $6 billion RTO. That company is currently still trading at over $12 billion. The stock's at about $20. The second one was about a $2 billion company that was an RTO that's trading still today at about $1 billion, and stock's trading at around $4. So and I'm now focused into mining and to this project here, and fully expect this to be my next big win. I believe in it so much that I personally increased my share position by 1 million shares here recently, plus bought more in the market. Myself and my family and a handful of my friends have put $2.2 million into this company so far, and about 20%, of the company. So, that's what people have to look at, right? Good projects, already permitted, management team that's proven, have already done it, understand how to execute, and I believe we have all those elements, all those components with this with our company.
Right, and one of those keys is that 90% of the project has never been explored. So the potential is really in the drilling, right? I mean, it looks like you guys have obviously done some surveying, and if 90% is still not done, I mean, what significance does that bring to this project?
Well, that's it. I mean, so the key, see, most companies, that's their dream, is to get into production, because what they want to be able to do is take that cash and then put it back into the ground and expand, as you just said, drilling. Mm-hmm. That really is what increases the market cap of junior exploration companies, and that's what we're going to do. So yes, we did do the surveying. The airborne survey completely lit up the property. It was just amazing. This is all news release. People can go on our website and they'll see what I'm talking about. And it's just there's so many targets, and we have so many shots at making it, and that's the beauty of it, right? If it was just you drill here and you miss and it's over, that's a problem, right? But in our case, we have multiple targets that have been identified on this vast land package of 19,000 hectares. So we're going to be very, very busy this year, and I'm very excited. This is going to be a game-changing year for our company.
Absolutely. And of course, as I always have to say, per legalities, do your own research, look into things yourself. This isn't investment advice, but it's interesting to look into these companies. Obviously, we wouldn't have them back on if it weren't for the fact that we're very interested in this project. We had Rana Vig on back in September of 2020, I believe. And we continue to follow up because this is just in the beginning phase of multiple developments, and I think it's really exciting for people to look into. So I wanted to ask you,
and just to add on to that, right? I mean, just as a cautionary note, look, I'm not suggesting for a minute that we're the only company, right? There are a lot of great companies, right? I can only talk about what we have. We believe that we have all the elements. We think we tick all the boxes, which is why I've invested personally, and my family's invested in this company. But of course, everyone should do their own due diligence and make sure that they're comfortable and look at their risk profile. There's always risks in investments, right? But the thing about junior exploration companies is that if you get a discovery, if you get into a company that's undervalued, which is what I believe we are at, and you get them at the beginning of the discovery curve, which is exactly where we are at, and we drill more and we're able to prove more, that's when there's a huge upside. See, most people, Josh, buy at the wrong time and they sell at the wrong time.
Right.
That's the challenge, right? When in the last sector that the companies that I mentioned earlier, that we took that company public at nearly a $6 billion market cap, as I mentioned earlier. The stock went all the way down when the sector started retracting to $4. Well, guess what? People were selling. I was buying. That stock then went back up to $20. So, that's the key is, right? You've got to know the entry point, and you've got to take a look at companies that are undervalued. And of course, that requires a little bit of research and the stomach for it.
Right. And a lot of our viewers are just the type of people that sit on gold and silver and use it for wealth insurance purposes. And then a lot of our viewers love to hear from companies like yours and get involved while they still can, because I mean, this is a growing industry. People laugh when I say that gold and silver is a growing industry, but it is. Even after all these centuries, it is, because there's still a lot in the ground. And the more that gets discovered, these companies are going out of their way to find this gold and bring value to the market. And I think it's very important that people understand there's a lot to come still going into the future. So I wanted to ask you, what would be your elevator pitch for those watching as to why people should get involved? Of course, again, legalities, not investment advice, but what would you say as your elevator pitch?
Well, look, I think we have 2-3 key elements and why somebody should take a look at us, right? Number one, near-term production, right? We are a company that really is literally at the 99-yard line. We had 3 amendments that we had to do to get into production. We've done 2 of them. We got 1 more to go. We'll be done by the end of next month, and we'll be in a production decision, I believe, by the end of summer, early fall. That's a pretty amazing place to be at, because we'll be able to create free cash flow. Number 3, it's our treasury, right? We have nearly $5 million still in our treasury. We have no debt, and we have nearly $5 million of warrants that are in the money. So we can call those in. So we have a very, very good financial picture. That's very important. And the last piece is management, right? As I mentioned earlier, I've just recently increased my share position by 1 million shares. I now personally own almost 5% of the company, and my family and a handful of friends own 20%. So we have, those are very, very strong points, I believe, for investors to take a look at to when they're evaluating whether to invest or not.
Yeah, well, it's a very interesting future ahead for gold, especially with, like I mentioned earlier, the inflationary environment we're all living in. As people flow into gold, we need the miners to bring the gold up. And obviously, a lot of people are interested in investing in companies like yours. So I wanted you to give the audience an idea where they could find more information and what tickers they can find Blue Lagoon Resources under.
Yeah, and just before I do that, just to add to your comment, remember, people often think, well, is gold going to go up, or what's going to happen with gold? As a junior mining company who's about to go into production, we believe, I'll take $1,700 gold all day long. It's a very profitable business. At the end of the day, that's what people have to look at, is to say, is the company going to be profitable? And producers at this point, and silver, by the way, we have for every 1 ounce of gold that we currently have on our Boulder vein, we have 4 ounces of silver. Right, that's just like free money for us. That's a bonus, and silver in the mid-20s, we'll take that all day long, because that'll pay for all of our G&A. So those are very, very important things to consider. Best place to get our information is really our website, bluelagoonresources.com. I'm a very engaged CEO. If people have any questions, there's an email address there they can click on, and it'll come to me, and I'm happy to engage and answer any questions with the audience. We trade in Canada under the symbol BLLG, and in the US under BLAGF.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you joining us today. I look forward to catching up to you in the future as we go forward. I think that this is something that a lot of our viewers are very interested in and are looking forward to following up with you as well. So anyways, I really appreciate you joining us and hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.